You've probably been reading the financial news, or at least you've been getting some of it through headlines that make their way into your daily life without you specifically seeking them out. And the picture that headlines paint is a specific kind of unsettling. Inflation concerns, interest rate uncertainty, slowing GDP, corporate earnings misses, layoff announcements from companies that seemed untouchable. None of it is definitive. None of it is a confirmed disaster. But the cumulative texture of the financial environment has a specific weight to it right now. And if you're paying attention, which you are, or you wouldn't be watching this, you've picked it up. Here's what I want to say before anything else, and I want to be completely clear about it. Nobody knows with certainty when the next recession is coming. Not the Federal Reserve, not Wall Street economists, not the hedge fund managers who claim to have predicted the last one. Economic forecasting is genuinely, demonstrably terrible. The economists who predicted the 2008 recession were also the ones who predicted recessions in 2004, 2005, and 2006. The people who predicted no recession in 2008 were the ones the Federal Reserve was listening to in 2007. Prediction is not the mechanism. Here's what is: preparation. And here's the counterintuitive thing about the preparation that builds wealth during recessions. The people who make fortunes during economic downturns, and they consistently exist in every recession, across every economic cycle in recorded history, are not the ones who predicted the timing correctly. They're the ones who were positioned correctly before the downturn arrived. And that positioning is available to you right now in a specific and actionable form, regardless of whether a recession arrives in 6 months, 18 months, or not at all in the near term. My name is Max, and I want to help you learn how to make your money work more for you in your life. This channel is about the financial positions that produce wealth across market cycles, not just in the good years. Subscribe if you want that. Let's build the recession-ready position. Okay, the belief to address. The conventional belief about recessions and personal finance says, protect yourself. Cut spending, hold cash, don't take risks, wait for conditions to improve before making financial moves. The implicit assumption is that recessions are purely destructive events that you survive rather than navigate. That the smart financial move is to minimize exposure and wait for the recovery. Here's the overlooked truth. Recessions are simultaneously the most wealth-destroying events for unprepared people and the most wealth-creating events for prepared ones. Not because the prepared are doing something clever or manipulative, because recessions create specific temporary conditions in which valuable assets become available at significantly discounted prices. Real estate that was priced at premium valuations in good times becomes available from distressed sellers. Businesses that were overvalued during the growth period become acquirable at realistic prices. Stocks that reflected peak earnings, optimism declined to reflect recessionary reality, and the people who keep buying during the decline buy assets at prices that produce exceptional returns when the recovery arrives. The difference between the recession destroyed and the recession enriched is not prediction, it's position. And position is built before the recession, not during it. Here's the analogy. Think about the difference between a fire department that builds firehouses, trains personnel, and maintains equipment before fires occur, versus one that scrambles to respond with inadequate resources when a fire is already burning. When the fire comes, the prepared department moves effectively and saves what can be saved. The unprepared one reacts from a position of inadequacy. Financial recessions are the economic equivalent. The people who are positioned, who have liquidity, who have no debt, who are invested in continuing to invest, move effectively when the downturn arrives. The people who aren't scramble to survive it. But here's where it gets really interesting, because the specific positioning that builds wealth during recessions runs counter to the instinct that recessions produce in most people. Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky's prospect theory, one of the most replicated findings in behavioral economics, documented that losses feel approximately twice as painful as equivalent gains feel pleasurable. This loss aversion produces a specific recessionary behavior pattern. As asset prices fall and news coverage intensifies, The pain of potential additional loss overrides the rational recognition that lower prices represent better buying opportunities. The investor who has $50,000 in an index fund and watches it fall to $38,000 feels the $12,000 loss intensely, far more intensely than they'd feel a $12,000 gain. And this disproportionate pain response produces the behavior that guarantees poor recessionary outcomes. Selling at the bottom, stopping contributions, moving to cash at exactly the moment when staying invested, and continuing to buy produces the best long-term results. The defense against loss aversion in a recession is not suppressing the emotion. It's pre-committing to the behavior before the emotion is present. Automation that runs through market downturns. A written investment policy that says, I continue contributing regardless of market conditions. Structural commitments that don't leave room for the loss-averse decision in the moment of maximum fear. The fortune built during recessions is built on the structural pre-commitment that kept you buying when everything in your emotional landscape was screaming to stop. Here are the 5 specific positions that consistently produce wealth-building outcomes during economic downturns. Position 1, liquidity, cash, that can acquire discounted assets. During recessions, assets that were previously unavailable or unaffordable become available. Real estate from distressed sellers, business equity from owners who need liquidity, investment positions added at discount prices. The people who capture these opportunities all have one thing in common. They had cash that wasn't deployed before the opportunity appeared. Liquidity isn't just the emergency fund, though the emergency fund is the foundation. It's having the additional capacity to move on opportunities that the recession creates. The specific target, beyond your 6-month emergency fund, a separate opportunity fund of $10,000 to $30,000 in liquid savings specifically designated as recession opportunity capital. This fund doesn't get invested in the market. It gets deployed for specific non-market assets when recession creates the conditions. The math on recession-timed asset acquisition, home prices in the S&P/Case-Shiller Index fell approximately 33% from peak to trough during the 2008 to 2009 recession. A $300,000 home purchased at the 2009 trough instead of the 2007 peak would have cost approximately $200,000. At current valuations, roughly 2 times the 2009 trough for many markets, the 2009 buyer has $400,000 of asset appreciation on a $200,000 purchase. The liquidity to act in 2009, the cash in hand when others were liquidating, was worth $400,000 in a single asset purchase. Position 2, zero high-interest consumer debt. During a recession, income often decreases through pay cuts, reduced hours, layoffs, or reduced business revenue. The people who carry high-interest debt into an income reduction are simultaneously losing income and paying 21% on balances that are now harder to reduce. The double pressure, declining income plus compounding debt, is what produces the cascading financial crisis that makes recessions so devastating for unprepared households. The people who enter a recession with no high-interest consumer debt have a dramatically different experience of income reduction. It's painful. It requires adjustment, but it doesn't cascade. Their position can absorb a 20% income reduction without structural collapse. Position 3, continued systematic investment, buying equities at discount. We've covered this extensively in the context of the 2009 recovery, but here's the recession-specific math that makes it concrete. The S&P 500 reached its trough in March 2009 at approximately 670 points. By January 2020, it was approximately 3,231 points, a 382% gain from the trough. The investor who kept buying at 670 and kept buying at 800 and 900 and 1,000 as the market recovered, bought at prices that produced extraordinary returns over the following decade. The investor who stopped buying at the 2008 peak and waited for clarity to return before resuming missed the entire discount window. The mechanism: your dollar cost averaging contribution buys more shares when prices are lower. A $700 monthly contribution at a share price of $40 buys 17.5 shares. The same $700 contribution when the price falls to $28 during a recession buys 25 shares. The investor who keeps contributing through the price drop gets 7.5 more shares per month. When the price recovers to $40, those additional shares are worth $300 per month of additional portfolio value that wasn't paid for. Position 4, professional indispensability. The specific career positioning that makes recession-related layoffs less likely. Recessions produce layoffs that are not random. The employees retained are disproportionately the ones who are expensive to replace, who have skills that are hard to find in the market, and whose departure would create immediate operational problems. The employees let go are disproportionately the ones whose departure creates the least disruption. The ones whose skills are common, whose relationships are thin, and whose contributions are less visible to decision makers. The positioning actions taken before a recession. Identify the 2 or 3 skills that make you most expensive to replace. Deepen those skills deliberately. Increase your organizational visibility, not political positioning, but genuine relationship depth with people who would be in the room making retention decisions. Document your specific contributions in quantifiable terms. Become the person who owns specific, critical, high-value work. This isn't about working harder. It's about being strategically placed in the work that matters most to the people who make retention decisions. Position 5, opportunistic asset acquisition. The real estate and business assets that become available at recession prices. We've mentioned this in the liquidity section. Here's the specific mechanism. Recessions create forced sellers. The business owner who needs liquidity and is willing to sell at a significant discount. The real estate investor who is over-leveraged and needs to exit. The employee who received equity compensation that they're now willing to sell below market because they need cash. The person who is positioned, who has liquidity, no debt drag, and continued investment stability can evaluate these opportunities from a position of genuine options rather than reactive need. The specific categories most accessible to ordinary investors in recessions. Small rental properties from distressed sellers. The 2009 recession produced significant opportunities in this category in many markets. Small business acquisitions from owners who want to exit during economic stress, often at valuations significantly below growth period peaks. REITs and dividend stocks at discounted prices with elevated yields. When prices fall, existing dividend payments represent a higher percentage yield on the depressed price. Now let me run the math on what full recession preparedness looks like in terms of long-term wealth outcome. Starting position, 36 years old, fully prepared, 0 high interest debt, 6-month emergency fund, $20,000 opportunity fund, $85,000 in investment accounts, continuing to invest $900 per month through any market conditions. Recession scenario, markets fall 35% over 18 months. Your $85,000 investment account falls to approximately $55,250. You keep investing $900 per month at the depressed prices, buying more shares than your contributions purchased at peak prices. After the recovery, historically 2 to 5 years for significant recoveries, the portfolio, including depressed price purchases, reaches approximately $170,000, materially ahead of where it would have been if you'd started contributing again at post-recovery prices. Additionally, you deploy $15,000 of your opportunity fund on a small rental property acquired at a recession discount in month 8. Non-prepared scenario, same 36-year-old, $6,000 credit card balance, 2-month emergency fund, $85,000 investment account. Markets fall 35%. Account falls to $55,250. Income is reduced 15% due to employer cost cutting. Credit card interest continues compounding. Emergency fund is depleted in month 3. Contributions stop in month 4 as cash becomes tight. Portfolio sits at depressed levels without new contributions, missing the discount buying window. starts contributing again 18 months after the trough at higher prices. 20-year comparison from age 36 to 56. Prepared investor, approximately $1,420,000. Unprepared investor, approximately $870,000. The preparation gap, approximately $550,000. From the same income, the same market cycle, the same period of time, from position, not prediction. Here's the identity shift. The person who has built these 5 positions, who has the liquidity, the debt freedom, the systematic investment running, the professional indispensability, and the readiness to act on opportunities, doesn't experience recession anxiety the same way the unprepared person does. Not because the prepared person is more emotionally evolved, because they've converted the anxiety into preparation, and the preparation into position, and the position into the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that the economic event everyone else is dreading is, for them, an opportunity period rather than a survival test. Here's the close. 5 positions. Liquidity to acquire discounted assets. 0 high-interest debt to prevent the double pressure of income reduction plus compounding liability. Continued systematic investment that buys more shares at recession prices. Professional indispensability that makes you expensive to let go. Readiness to acquire real assets at recession period discounts. I don't know when the next recession is coming. Nobody does. But the preparation described in this video produces positive outcomes regardless of timing. If the recession arrives in the next 12 months, you're positioned to navigate it as an opportunity. If it arrives in 5 years, you've built a better financial foundation for the intervening period and for the downturn when it does arrive. If the feared recession doesn't materialize, you have more liquidity, less debt, a stronger investment position, and better professional positioning than you had before you watched this. The preparation doesn't require a recession to be valuable. Start building the position.